good morning or good afternoon, and welcome. So, I'm gonna do a little manga. This will be some of the manga I've read or collected over 2026. And we'll leave Yuji right here. Yeah, here's a little Yuji I got from a blind box when I was over in South Korea. But yeah, so we'll start with, I guess we'll go with the ones I haven't read because they're still sealed. And this is just talking about recent physical manga. Unlike everybody else, I do read my manga online. But it is fun to collect the physical stuff for series that I do thoroughly enjoy and want the physical copies of. But it's just, especially in today's day and age, it's kind of impossible to avoid spoilers unless you completely stay off the internet. If you don't read like chapters as they get released online, whether you wait for official translations or not. But you know, you can see some series here that, like Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, Goku no Kugai, I don't really have to worry about. I don't really see spoilers for this. And same thing with Kagurabachi and Love Bullet. I don't really see spoilers for these two either. Mainly just these two, but they're both done now, so I don't really worry about there anymore. So now we just start collecting them. So I picked up volumes 30 and 29 of Jujutsu Kaisen in Korea, and yes, they are the Korean versions. So I'm gonna keep them sealed, just because, you know, I can't read Korean. But yeah, so this is the 30th volume with Yuji on the front cover, and that art is super sick. I do want to get this off, but I don't know if that's part of the seal or not. I don't want to scrape more than I need to. Yeah, and then here is volume 29 with Sukuna on the front. Absolutely insanely cool cover. Really, really cool. And I noticed that their side bindings artwork is higher. I don't know if that's like intentional or not, because like if you look at volume 30 and the English translation of volume 30, Yuji's on the bottom. This is the Books A Million exclusive cover. I am trying to get the other two covers. I believe the other one's at Kinokuniya, if I said that right. I always get that store name wrong sometimes. I just haven't had a chance to drive up there yet. And the Barnes & Noble one, and I believe Walmart has another one. Am I gonna get all the 30 volume editions? I don't know. Maybe. We shall see. But yeah. And volume 30 does have some pretty cool chapters in here. I should have said spoilers or something prior to opening this. But you do have the conclusion to the Jujutsu Kaisen fight at the end, which has some very, very cool panels. This is one of my favorites right here. You can't say that isn't so sick. Very, very cool. Yuji is one of my favorite main characters. His tenacity and just sheer will. Very, very cool. Sticking with what I have in the Korean sealed, this is one that I really kind of want to unseal. It's the Ruby Dragon, volume 4. It's got this cool little, one of those acrylic figure stand things. And then I'd be able to see the cover. But Ruby Dragon is really cool. I enjoy it. But I also picked this up when I picked these two up. You will not believe how cheap manga is in Korea. It is actually, I think I paid, how much? Yeah, my bad. 6,000 won. When they say the Korean won, they were not lying. I almost bought more, but I was like, you know what? 3 is good. because I was buying mostly like blind boxes and figures and stuff. And then a couple other things that I read recently in the manga category. Whoops. Goku Kugai. The artwork in this manga is actually insane. Like, look at that. That's crazy. Crazy penmanship. Look at that. You're a pervert, yeah? Crazy. There are some panels I really like. When I wouldn't call this annotated. I think more so I just put stuff that I think is funny, cool, or fight scenes that I really like. Usually it's artwork that I really like. That's really tough, right? I don't really annotate the same way I annotate books when I do manga. Like right here, it's a really cool fight scene. Very cool action panels. Look at that. No compassion for you scumbags. Very tough. But yeah, I read recently volumes 2 and 3. I have to pick up 4 and 5 sometime, maybe this month or next month. But yeah, we'll do a little bit of flipping through volume 3. Let me show you guys some panels I really like. Get a little bit out the way. Let's see. Ooh, this? Wild. Just like the artwork is very, very cool. But yeah. If you like, I wouldn't say that if you like Jujutsu Kaisen Chainsaw Man that you should check out Goku Kugai, but this is a very strong series that I think is very worth to read. I think the artwork from Yuto Sano is insane. The cover artwork is very cool. Very goes in depth. And I believe, if I'm right, she does this one thing that I really enjoy. Oh yeah, when they do this little paneling, when they do the like it's a photo shoot and they're making them pose. I think they do it on this one too. Yeah, there it is. Here it goes. Very funny. I always like little after stuff like this and like the physical copies and stuff. But yeah, Goku Kugai, very recommended. And then coming down to Kagurabachi and Love Bullet. So Love Bullet, I actually started when I bought it. I didn't know about this manga online. I was at Kinokuniya doing some shopping for like, you know, blind boxes and other stuff like that. A couple of stationery items, and I kept seeing this all over. It was all over the place, and I guess this was like a limited edition volume, so I shouldn't have annotated it and I shouldn't have unsealed it. But it is what it is. Manga and books are meant to be read, right? But yeah, I thoroughly thought this was such a fun story. It was sad, yeah. Had some parts in it that I was like, damn, that's tough. Very unfortunate. But the art is very cute and nice. I like the attention to detail and like the action that happens in the series, and the attention to detail in their like tactical stuff. Like, look at her fit. Oh, look at them. Very cool. Their little Cupid uniforms. Right? And I think you can kind of tell that their uniforms are definitely time-based. Just like their weapons are somewhat. But yeah, very, very cool. But yeah, just takes a spin on Cupids being kind of like a military force almost. But instead of crossbows, instead of a bow and arrow, they have weapons. I'm pretty sure she had the SMGs. I think one of them had like a full-on AR. She's got the handgun. Very cool. Kagurabachi. This is one of my favorite online reads, and I just finally started picking up the physicals. I didn't read this. I didn't annotate it because kind of a stupid reason, but I didn't have a color sticky. Like, you see how I kind of pick a color that goes with the cover? Right, a little bit. You see on Chainsaw Man too, on both of them. I did not have a black, gray, white, red, nothing. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna annotate one of my favorite series right now with a color that doesn't match the cover. So it just means I'll have to go back and reread it. But yeah, dude and dudettes, Kagurabachi has some insane artwork. Look at that. What a damn absolute insane protagonist. He just gets straight to it. No goofiness. I think one of my favorite things about Kagurabachi is the pacing. It's just straight to it. You know, you get his backstory pretty quickly. You get the rundown of what's going on pretty fast. The explanation of the katanas is pretty quick, I think so. And, you know, it doesn't really leave you like, I don't want to say it's a bad thing, but whereas these two leave you with a lot of questions, a lot of speculation in these two, especially with this one. And this one has a lot of debate in the universe that it's held in. You know, a lot of unanswered questions about CE, curse energy, you know, all that cool stuff. And it's up to the fans to kind of like speculate. And, you know, like, I like the joking online when people are like LARP Kaisen, especially with the recent episode, not recent, but with the last episode, Let's LARP, Jane Julia. But I feel like Kagurabachi does a really good job of, it's so straightforward in what's going on that when you get to the first katana that gets introduced, it's pretty straightforward. You're not sitting there like, huh, you know. And yeah, Chihiro can, you know, it's stated in the first novel or first volume that he can grow and his abilities will grow, but, you know, that's just the main character kind of trope. As far as the swords go and the sorcery in there, it's pretty straightforward. Now this Chainsaw Man is my absolute favorite. 10 out of 10. My number one anime / manga right now. If you saw the Reze movie, you know, they went crazy. But yeah, Fujimoto, look it up. Love these two, by the way. Okay, so if you read this, I was flipping through it, talking about it, and I hit a page that, if you know what's in this volume, I feel like I shouldn't have that page on here. So I'm gonna try not to hit it again. But yeah, Fujimoto and his works are some of my favorites. Chainsaw Man is probably my favorite anime / manga right now. Denji is a very well written character. Also is also one of my favorite characters right now. I'm gonna do a big skip so we don't hit that weird page. But yeah, this is when Special Division 5 thinks they're gonna flex on Pochita, but they get absolutely cooked. Look at this speed blitz right here. Gone. Straight heat. But yeah, Fujimoto's art is one of my favorites. His art style is one of my favorites. Over here on my shelf, I have Look Back and Goodbye Eri. I think my Fire Punch stuff is at home, and the rest of my Chainsaw Man volumes are also at home. I only have 19 and 20 with me right now. But yeah, volume 20 was the most recent one I picked up. This has a lot of my favorite panels from Asa. and Yoru, like this one right here. Oh, this one got it. And how could I forget? Yoru's a devil. There's Yoru just laughing her ass off because they just blew up a building. But yeah, this is a very fun volume. I really enjoy the point of the story around here, you know. I know a lot of people will argue that part 2 is not their favorite, which is okay. Everyone has their own likes and dislikes. But yeah, the most recent volume of Chainsaw Man had the art released. It's Denji on the cover. Super duper cool. But we still got a couple of volumes till we get there to be translated in English, so I will be collecting those as I go. And then to reiterate on these, I'm gonna see if I can get the other covers from that. And then, but yeah, as far as the manga goes, I'm gonna continue to collect these and these. Gokuro Kugai and Kaguro Bachi's physical copies. But yeah, that will be, let's focus. That'll be my very quick ramble of what manga I read recently. And to give you an idea of how I read the physical stuff, online stuff I just kind of read like I'm chilling at work, maybe when I'm disassociated in my car while it warms up, stuff like that. I'll read online manga since I'm only reading a chapter or two. But when it comes to reading the physical stuff, I'm very big on after I read a book. So for example, in my last video I talked about The Poppy War by R. Kwong. After I read that, I think I read, I'm pretty sure one of these. I'm pretty sure it was this one. And another big book that I read was oh yeah, like after I read Catabasis by R. Kwong, I read like 2 physical volumes of manga. But yeah, if you stuck around this long, I hope you enjoyed my little display of some cover art and some flipping through some pages and kind of how I read my manga. Fun little tidbit on why I annotate so many of the pages is because I do I do have a lot of anime tattoos, and they're usually based off of panels. So for like Asa and Yoru, you know, these would be pretty sick, I think. Or maybe even, this remembers page of Reze would be kind of evil, not gonna lie. But yeah, or just really cool stuff that I enjoy. Let's see what the next one is before we depart. Ooh, yeah, wild. Denji just locking in. Foolproof plan. Because kid's a genius. But yeah, like I said, if you stuck around this long for my little quick ramble, I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll come back around again to take a look at some more. I am looking to maybe get an actual mic and maybe an actual camera and maybe an actual stand. We'll see. The priority is books and manga. So when it comes to spending money, I would rather actually spend money on the hobby itself. But yeah, if you have any recommendations on manga based on what you've seen here that maybe I haven't seen or haven't gotten around to checking out, go ahead and throw it down in the comments. I'm pretty open to reading stuff. And then watching as well. Right now I'm watching Demons in the Shadow Realm, I believe the title was, from the creator of Full Metal Alchemist. And I'm also watching Witch Hat, which I also need to start collecting those collector editions. Those are really cool. The ones that Barnes & Noble, I believe, question mark. But yeah, other than that, I got nothing left to say. I'll just keep on wordlessly rambling. So I will catch you guys later. If you liked the video, go ahead and like it. If not, that's okay. And yeah, maybe I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.